Every morning, a choice is made not by the sun, not by time but by you. You open your eyes, the breath returns to your body, but have you truly awakened? You see, most people do not start the day. They continue it half asleep in the habits of yesterday, trapped in the same cycle of thoughts, reacting, not living. But in the ancient teachings there is a saying, when the mind is still, the path becomes clear. So I ask you, before the world demands your attention, have you asked yourself, why am I here today? What is the purpose behind this breath, this step, this hour ahead of me? Purpose does not arrive in grand announcements. It reveals itself in discipline, in clarity, in the silence before the noise. Starting your day with purpose is not about productivity, it is about alignment. It is about understanding that your time is your life. And every morning you are gifted a new lifetime, so don't begin your day by checking the world outside. Begin by checking the world within. What is your intention? What are you cultivating? What will you no longer carry? Stand like the mountain, still yet powerful. Breathe like the wind flowing, yet directed. Because when you start your day with purpose, the day no longer controls you, you control the day. Your first thought in the morning is not just a fleeting idea. It is the seed from which the rest of your day grows. Imagine the mind like a calm surface of water. As you wake, the first thought is the stone you throw in. It creates ripples that touch every edge of your awareness. Whether that thought is rooted in stress, gratitude, anxiety, or clarity, it will echo through your actions, your decisions, and even your body. This is why the moment you wake up is sacred. It is a doorway, an entrance into how you will carry yourself through the hours ahead. If the first thought is, I'm tired, or there's too much to do, then the body tightens. Your breath becomes shallow, you begin the day in resistance, and from that resistance you may find yourself rushing, reacting, or already feeling behind. But if that first thought is, I'm alive, or this day is a new opportunity, the body softens, the heart opens, and the breath becomes steady. You step into the day with presence, with acceptance. You begin from strength. Most people underestimate the power of beginnings. But in every tradition, be it martial arts, meditation, or spiritual training, the beginning is treated with utmost respect. The way you enter a space is the way you fill it, and your day is no different. Before the phone, before the emails, before the conversations and demands, there is a moment that belongs only to you, a moment where the mind is most vulnerable yet most powerful. This is the moment when you decide, not the world. This first thought is not random, it is a reflection of your inner condition. If you constantly wake up with dread, then something is misaligned. Your body is speaking, your mind is echoing an unresolved tension. And it is your responsibility to pay attention, not to ignore, not to numb, but to observe with honesty. Why is this the thought that arises first? What have I allowed to grow inside me that this has become the default? Awareness begins here, the shift begins here, not with dramatic action, but with silent intention. When the Shaolin monks rise in the early hours, they do not immediately speak or move with haste. The waking process is gradual, intentional. There is stillness, and in that stillness there is recognition of life. That recognition transforms the entire day. They understand that a mind unguarded at the beginning is a mind left to wander aimlessly. And so, you must train the mind like you train the body. Condition it to awaken with purpose, to guide the first thought, not let it be hijacked by old worries or unconscious fear. This takes practice. At first you will forget. You may open your eyes and immediately be pulled into thought patterns that drain you. But with practice you will remember, you will catch yourself, you will pause, and in that pause you will plant a different seed. Instead of, what do I have to do today? You may ask, who do I choose to be today? Instead of, I don't want to get up, you may say, I rise because I am needed, I rise because I am capable. These are not just affirmations, they are choices. And over time, these choices form your identity, they form your character. The first thought is also a mirror. It shows you what you've been feeding your mind. If you end your day with chaos, scrolling, comparing, overthinking, then the residue will follow you into the morning. But if you end your day with intention, silence, gratitude, reflection, then your mind will offer something different when you wake. Morning clarity begins the night before. They are connected. This is not about control. It is about consciousness. You are not trying to manipulate your feelings or suppress your reality. You are simply choosing the most empowering response to your life, starting with the very first breath of your day. That response becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes your state, and that state becomes your life. You are not too busy to slow down for a moment. You are not too overwhelmed to choose a better thought. The world may be loud, but your mind can be quiet. The demands may be many, but your center can remain still. Begin with one thought. Let that thought be chosen with care. Let it be aligned with who you truly want to be. Let it be born not from fear, but from clarity. Let it come from a deeper place, not the surface, because the way you start your day is not just the beginning of hours. It is the beginning of your life's momentum. Silence and stillness in the morning are tools for inner alignment. They are not merely the absence of noise or activity. They are the environment in which the truth of your being can surface without distortion. In the moments before the world begins to move around you, before the notifications, the tasks, the voices, and the responsibilities arise, there is a sacred window of stillness. That space is not empty. It is full of potential. It is full of clarity. It is full of the original essence of who you are before you are shaped by the world each day. We live in a time where movement is glorified, productivity is praised. Constant doing has become the rhythm of modern life, but in the tradition of inner cultivation, it is understood that before right action, there must be right presence, and presence can only arise in stillness. Just as muddy water clears when left undisturbed, the mind too becomes clear when we allow it to settle. Silence is not weakness, it is not avoidance, it is strength, it is readiness. When you begin your day in silence, you take back your power. You stop reacting and start observing. You become aware of your inner state before letting the outer world define it. In this stillness, the breath becomes audible. The heartbeat becomes a reminder that life is already moving inside you. You don't need to chase life. You need to return to it. And this return begins in the quiet moments you claim for yourself. Stillness is a discipline. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may sit in silence and feel a rush of thoughts, restlessness, even resistance. That is normal. You are meeting yourself again after a long time of distraction. The noise inside becomes louder only because you have stopped drowning it out. But if you stay with it, not fighting, not judging, simply observing, you will notice that the chaos begins to soften. Like clouds passing through the sky, the thoughts lose their grip. You begin to realize that you are not your thinking. You are the awareness beneath the thinking. This awareness is your anchor. It is the place where intention is born. When you listen in silence, you begin to hear what really matters. Not what is urgent, but what is essential. Not what the world demands from you, but what your inner self is calling for. These are subtle voices. They are often drowned by noise. That is why the practice of stillness must be done with care, with consistency, and with reverence. Silence in the morning is different from silence at night. At night, silence comes as an end. In the morning, silence is a beginning. It is the foundation on which the entire structure of your day will be built. If the foundation is rushed, shaky, chaotic, then the day becomes reactive, uncentered. But if the foundation is still, steady, and intentional, then your actions carry presence, your decisions hold clarity, and your mind remains grounded even in challenge. This is why the ancient disciplines begin their training in the early hours, before sunrise, when the world is still dreaming. In those hours, there is no competition for your attention. The silence of the morning is not just external, it is internal. The world has not yet pulled you into its many directions. You are free to be undivided, to be whole. This is the ideal time to sit, to breathe, to feel the body and the mind realign. Alignment is not something mystical, it is practical. When your body, mind, and intention are in harmony, You move through the day without internal conflict. You know what you stand for. You are not easily shaken by opinions or obstacles. You do not chase after validation. You begin to act from a place of inner stability, and this stability is built in stillness. In stillness, you also begin to notice patterns, the same thoughts that arise each morning, the same feelings in the body. These are insights. They are mirrors into your deeper condition. Are you waking up with tension in the chest? A knot in the stomach, a recurring worry? Do not rush past it. Do not distract from it. Sit with it. Allow silence to illuminate what your busyness has kept in the dark. Awareness leads to understanding, and understanding leads to transformation. Stillness also teaches you that time is not your enemy. When you begin your day slowly, intentionally, even just for 10 minutes, the rest of your day stretches. You find yourself more efficient, more composed. It is not because you did more, but because you did it from a centered state. This is the paradox of stillness. By slowing down, you begin to move with greater precision. You stop wasting energy on reaction. You start investing energy in purposeful action. This is not a one-time experience. It is a practice. The more you return to silence, the more it reveals. The more you embrace stillness, the more grounded you become. Purpose is not found. It is chosen and reaffirmed daily. This is a truth that often goes unnoticed in a world where people chase meaning as if it were hidden somewhere outside themselves. Many believe that purpose will appear one day, like a sudden realization, a calling that speaks with clarity and permanence. But the nature of purpose is not like a fixed destination. It is like a fire that you must tend to. It is something that you light with your own hands, feed with your energy, and protect with your discipline. When you wake up in the morning, you are given a moment of decision. In that moment, before your mind is flooded with memory and responsibility, there is a small space of freedom. In that space, you can choose what you are living for. You can choose the energy you want to bring into the day. You can choose to step forward with intention rather than habit. That choice is not loud. It is subtle, but it is powerful. The misunderstanding comes when people think they must wait until everything makes sense, until the path is clear, until passion burns brightly before they can begin. But clarity comes through movement. Purpose comes through participation. You choose it now, not because you feel ready, but because the act of choosing makes you ready. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to act in alignment with what matters to you, even when the outcome is uncertain. A tree does not ask whether it has a purpose before growing toward the light. It simply grows because growth is its nature. In the same way, you are not required to understand the full scope of your life before you commit to living it with meaning. Your purpose today might be different than your purpose tomorrow. That is not confusion. That is evolution. What remains consistent is your willingness to meet each day with presence, to ask yourself not what do I feel like doing, but what am I here to give? Choosing purpose is not always comfortable. It requires sacrifice. It requires saying no to distractions that tempt you away from the path. It requires saying yes to discipline even when your mind resists. But what it gives in return is worth more than comfort. It gives you direction. It gives your struggle a shape. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. When you choose purpose, pain no longer feels meaningless. It becomes part of your refinement. In the monastery, every action is connected to intention. Walking is not just walking. Sweeping the floor is not just cleaning. Every motion is a chance to practice awareness, to align the outer gesture with the inner goal. This is how monks live with purpose, not because they are always inspired, but because they bring intention to every step. That same principle applies to you. You do not need to leave the world to live meaningfully. You simply need to bring mindfulness to the life you already have. Start by asking yourself one question each morning. What kind of person do I want to be today? Let that question guide your tone, your decisions, your posture, your words. Let it shape the way you speak to yourself and others. If you forget throughout the day, return to the question, realign. This is the daily reaffirmation. You do not need motivation to do this. You need commitment. Commitment is stronger than emotion. Commitment is what carries you when motivation fades. Some days you will feel the weight of doubt. Some days you will question whether your small actions matter. But purpose is not measured by grand moments. It is woven into the fabric of the small, consistent choices you make when no one is watching. It is found in how you carry yourself through the quiet hours. It is revealed in how you respond to the ordinary. You do not need to impress the world. You need to honor your own values. Even in failure, purpose remains. Even in uncertainty, it gives you a reason to keep walking. When you choose to live with purpose, you are no longer easily shaken. Your energy becomes focused. Your distractions lose power. Your path becomes clearer, not because the world changes, but because your inner compass becomes stronger. Each morning, this choice is offered again, and with each choice, the person you are becoming is shaped. You are not waiting to become someone. You are becoming with each breath, with each decision. A disciplined morning creates a liberated mind throughout the day. This may seem paradoxical to some. How can discipline lead to freedom? But in truth, the structure you give yourself in the early hours becomes the very space in which mental clarity and emotional resilience are born. Without discipline, the mind wanders. It reacts to the noise of the world, drifts between impulses, and becomes entangled in confusion. But with discipline, there is direction, there is order, and within that order, the mind begins to relax, not because it is idle, but because it trusts the path. Discipline in the morning does not mean rigid control. It is not about force or pressure. It is about consistency. It is about showing up for yourself even when you don't feel like it. It is about creating a rhythm that allows the body, the mind, and the spirit to awaken in harmony. Just as the sun rises at the same time every day, regardless of the weather, your morning routine becomes your own rising. It becomes a signal to the inner self that today is not an accident. It is a conscious act. When you rise with discipline, you begin your day with a sense of purpose. You train your attention. You reclaim your focus before the world pulls it in 100 directions. Instead of beginning your day reacting to alarms, messages, and demands, you begin by responding to your own values. You start with silence, with breath, with intention. That foundation creates strength. It builds a kind of internal momentum that stays with you even as the day grows more complex. In the Shaolin tradition, discipline is not viewed as restriction. It is viewed as refinement. Every repeated movement, every breath, every bow is part of cultivating the mind. The repetition is not dull, it is sacred, because through repetition you develop awareness. Through awareness you develop mastery. And through mastery you become free, not free from responsibility, but free from internal chaos. Many people seek motivation to begin their day, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, however, is not emotional. It is a decision made in advance. It is a commitment to your higher self over your momentary feelings. In the early morning, when sleep still lingers and resistance whispers its familiar excuses, discipline is what gets you up. It is what reminds you that greatness is not the result of grand gestures, but of small acts repeated with devotion. When you begin the day with discipline, you make fewer decisions, not because you lack freedom, but because your choices are already made. You do not waste energy debating whether to meditate, to stretch, to journal, to breathe. These actions are already part of your identity. This simplicity reduces mental fatigue. It sharpens focus. It creates spaciousness in the mind. That spaciousness allows creativity to emerge. It allows calm to take root. A disciplined morning also strengthens your self-respect. Each time you follow through on what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself. That trust is quiet, but it is powerful. It becomes the ground you stand on when doubt arises later in the day. It reminds you that you are not at the mercy of moods or circumstances. You have agency. You have will, You have structure that supports your higher intention. Even 5 minutes of discipline in the morning can shift your entire trajectory. A few minutes of conscious breath, a few lines written with reflection, a few stretches done with presence. These are not small things, they are anchors. They hold you steady when the waves of the day arrive. They are proof that your mind can obey your command, not just your impulses. And when the mind learns to listen in the morning, it is less likely to rebel during stress, temptation, or fatigue. The freedom that follows is not a freedom of escape, it is a freedom of response. It is the freedom to act from alignment rather than reaction. To speak with clarity, to move with purpose, to choose peace when conflict would be easier. This freedom does not happen by chance. It is cultivated. It is earned through discipline. Discipline in the morning is also a form of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, I am worthy of structure. I am worthy of order. I do not begin my day in chaos because my life deserves better than that. That mindset creates a ripple. It affects how you carry yourself, how you meet others, how you handle challenges. When the morning is aligned, the rest of the day begins to follow that rhythm. When you begin your day with purpose, everything changes, not just in what you do, but in how you exist. It is not about achieving more, but about being more present, more aware, more aligned with what truly matters. A single moment of silence, a single chosen thought, a single act of discipline in the early hours becomes the spark that lights the path for the entire day. You are not here to drift through life unconsciously. You are here to live with intention, to wake up not just physically, but spiritually, to rise each morning not as a reaction, but as a declaration. I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and I choose to walk this day with clarity, with strength, and with purpose. The morning is your mirror. Make sure what it reflects is not noise or fear, but depth, stillness, and conscious power. Because when you master your morning, you don't just master the day, you begin to master yourself.